Here we have what's called an FTIR, and this is basically a souped up version of our biodiesel analyzer that we looked at earlier. So we're going to do a similar thing with the fuel sample here. We're going to take a small amount of fuel and put it on this cell here. So what we're going to do is we're going to shine a light onto this fuel sample, and based on how that light reflects or is absorbed, we can see not only the biodiesel content of a fuel, but we can see all the chemical bonds that are present in there. The carbon and hydrogen bonds, the carbon and oxygen bonds, all those little things that are present inside of a fuel sample. So we can look at two different fuel samples we have here. On top we have B100, so biodiesel, and on the bottom we have number 2 heating oil. And you'll see they look very similar, but there are some distinct differences. Both of them have carbon and hydrogen peaks, which is common in all fuel samples. But on top here, the biodiesel has this peak that's not present on the bottom. This is the oxygen peak. Biodiesel has a small amount of oxygen in its molecule, so that will appear slightly differently. We're going to get a carbon-oxygen bond that's not present in our other sample. So this is very helpful to help identify and to track the changes over time of these various fuel samples, but it's also very helpful for finding unknowns. If we find a sample in the field, we get a sample and we really don't know what this kind of sludgy material is, we can put it on this device and get a reading of it. And this device basically has a library built into it. All materials in the world have a kind of fingerprint to them, a different kind of way their component looks. So we can measure what this unknown sample is, compare it to the library that we have, and use almost a forensic technology to find out what's going on inside this sample, what is it really, and help identify these unknowns. It's a very powerful machine that lets us find the very minute samples of what's going on inside our fuels.